Hey everybody, welcome back to Cat Chat. Chris, welcome back.
Thanks for having me. Welcome.
No problem, no problem. Can you believe, Chris, it is our next to last episode of Cat Chat for the school year.
Next to last. It's the end of the year.
This has flown by.
Time flies when you're having fun. It's been a fun year for me, man.
I know. It's all gone so quickly. I can't believe that next month is going to be our last month. And I think we're working on a little special surprise for everybody. We can't tell you what it is yet, but I think you guys are really going to like it for our last episode next month.
Man, I don't even know what the surprise is.
A little special something coming.
Let's do it.
So some special stuff, just because this has been a really fun and exciting project working on Cat Chat. So we wanted to send you off with something special next month. So just some irons in the fire there.
Awesome. Let's do it.
Yeah. So, but a lot of stuff's been going on the past month that we want to talk about in our high fives, right, Chris?
Yes.
All of our kids have been doing some wonderful things over the past month, over the past season that we want to give a special shout out to. So let's get into our high fives. Chris, who do you want to shout out?
I want to shout out Fulton Elementary.
Fulton. What are they doing over there?
Fulton does so many things, man.
Yes.
Fulton is really killing it. But one thing I noticed that they did is they are giving out free haircuts, free hairstyle, hair braiding, whatever you need for the state testing. You know, they want all of their kids in that building to feel good about themselves walking in and making sure that their confidence is high, their self-esteem is high during state testing periods. And totally excited about that because if you look good, you test good.
What are they calling it? Get fresh for the test.
Get fresh for the test.
I love it.
Shout outs to Fulton for their high five of this segment. High five to Fulton.
Good job, Fulton. Well, I want to give a high five to Perrin Woods. Their instructional coach over there, Mr. Kendall Newell, he actually has just published his second children's book.
Nice.
I didn't know that about him. I think that's a really cool thing to have published, first of all, any children's book at all, to be a published author.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. But to do it 2 times in a row, and all of his books are about inspiring messages to kids. So I think that's really cool. We're happy to have you on our team, Kendall. So congratulations. And we're happy to promote all of these wonderful things that you are doing. So shout out to Perrin Woods. High five.
High five. Who else we got?
All right. Well, a lot of our kids are taking some exciting trips, Chris. We have several groups who are coming back from Washington, D.C.
Okay. They did the D.C. trip, huh?
Yep.
All right.
So we have Roosevelt, who came back from their 8th grade D.C. trip. And then we had the Springfield High American Sign Language group, who actually just came back from D.C. too.
Awesome. And they made it back safe and sound.
Yes. Everybody came back safely. And then we have some other groups who are doing some traveling too. So it's just cool to see our kids out and about, seeing some new places. But I wanted to highlight those 2 groups in particular because they came back from the same place. And I thought that was great that our kids are seeing the nation's capital, getting some history lessons in there.
Yes.
So high five to Roosevelt and Springfield High. Thanks
High
for
five.
showing our kids the world around us.
Awesome. I have another high five,
Okay.
and I love this idea. Definitely lets off some steam. Schaefer Middle School.
Okay.
And they had a dodgeball game.
Oh, no.
Staff. Kids versus the staff. And the staff won.
Naturally.
Naturally.
Of course.
And I know there was some good energy. Good positive energy. Gotta be
absolutely.
good positive energy in this game. In this game of dodgeball. So shout out to Principal Zach Raines.
Bringing it home, Principal Raines.
Yeah, making that happen and bringing home in the win for the staff and faculty, man. Great job, and high five to Schaefer Middle School and the kids for participating and having a great event there.
Fantastic. I think we need more of that in our regular routines.
Yeah,
I think we
that
would just
probably-
all do so much better. You know what I mean?
Once a month, we having an argument in the classroom with a kid. That's all right. The dodgeball game's coming up.
It'll settle it
Just
all.
sign up. Just
Yep.
sign up.
Settle
we can make
all
it
of
happen.
your conflicts, all of your problems.
Yeah, with a friendly game of dodgeball. I love it.
To be a fly on the wall.
Shout out.
All right. Well, my last high five I want to give is to the School of Innovation. They just had 3 of their kids in their drone course pass their certification test. So those 3 kids are certified now to go out, fly drones, get a job, pursue that. I mean, really as a career if they want to. So this has been a big step for them. They've gone through the coursework, gone through the certification. It's a big deal for them. And so this is really worthy of celebration. So shout out to the School of Innovation and those 3 students over there. You guys are awesome. High five to all of you.
High five. And that is an awesome job and certification to have. Like, I don't think the viewers realize how many drone shots that they see in movies that they use drones for car chases and any type of action movies. Drones are a big part of those movies. So those are highly sought after positions for people who know how to operate drones.
Well, yeah. And I mean, all of them obviously are still in high school and they know how to do this right now. This was something that they learned. Leland was on the podcast with us a couple months ago talking about, things that he learned in Mr. Perrine's class, and, stuff that he's picked up. And now he knows how to do it before he even leaves our doors. So I think that is fantastic.
Yep. Get to the bag. Get to the bag.
Yeah. So shout out to everyone at School of Innovation. Keep doing your thing. Keep becoming career ready and go get after it. So high five to you guys. Now, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know what to do.
You know what to do? Maybe they don't. Tell them what to do.
Okay. We have new stuff in the swag bag for you all. All you have to do is send me the 5 items that we talked about in the high five today to our Instagram at SCSDOH in a direct message. Hey, Jenna, this is what y'all talked about. And the swag bag is yours. That's easy.
Definitely some good swag in there, too.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
New stuff downstairs from Paul Prince.
You already know. Paul Prince is, if you're on social media, you've seen some of the stuff we're pulling out of there. We're working to starting to do some embroidery. Nice cat chat embroidery right there. So one-stop shop here right at the Dome, 700 South Limestone Street. Come on in. Come right to the front desk. Tell them your size. We got the mannequins up, cash, check, or card. We do it all right here. Paul Prince. It was a sweet plug right there. Gotta plug us.
But really, guys, all you have to do is send us those 5 items and you get a swag bag for this month. So get to it. Chris, who do we have for the podcast today?
For our feature alumni segment, we have Casey Luther. And I remember Casey. He graduated from Springfield High. So be interested to see what he has going on and how he's impacting our community here in Springfield, Ohio.
Awesome. Well, and for our Cat Den happenings, where we have our newly crowned state champions, the mock trial team.
Boom, 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 boom. The champ is here.
So excited for them. So excited to obviously have a state championship.
Yes.
That's really exciting for them, really exciting for our school. So they're going to speak a little bit about just, kind of their climb to the top.
Yeah.
And then for our community connections segment, we're going to have Woeber Mustard to talk about all of the things that they do with our kids, all of the connections that they bring
Great
to
company.
the school.
Great company.
Yes. Locally owned, locally operated. So they're going to wrap us up today.
That's awesome, man. Can't wait. Let's get it started.
All right, let's do it. Here we go.
All
April's episode of Cat Chat starts now. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Cat Chat. For our Cat Den happening segment today, I am joined by the newly crowned state champion mock trial team, Joel, Melissa, and Ben. And we are missing a couple of our members, but I'm so excited to have you guys, and I'm so incredibly proud of everything that you have accomplished. If you would, just introduce yourself, tell me what grade you're in, and then if you wouldn't mind, tell me how long you guys have been doing mock trial. Ben, why don't you start?
My name is Ben Ehlers. I'm a Springfield a senior at Springfield High School. I'm sorry. This is my second year doing mock trial.
Awesome.
My name is Melissa McMahon. I'm also a senior at Springfield High, and this is my 4th year doing mock trial.
Great.
My name's Joel Bloom. I'm a senior at Springfield High School, and this is my 4th year doing mock trial as well.
Great. Now, Melissa, I know we are missing a couple of people. Who else was part of this team with you guys?
So a part of our initial team that actually that won the competition was Hannah Madison, and then our 2 timekeepers who we could not have competed without are Caroline Yance and Brandon Taylor.
Fantastic. So if you guys could tell me a little bit, for those who are watching this and maybe unfamiliar, really what is mock trial? Like, when we hear this, what should come to mind for some of our people?
It's the largest non-athletic competition in the state of Ohio, with over 250 teams competing, over 2,500 students. You can think of it like students kind of acting out a law and order case that they craft themselves based on a case material provided by the organizer, OCLRE. So that's what I have to say describes it for the most part. That's the technical definition.
Yeah, so through mock trials, it's basically like Joel said, we're acting out like a Law and Order episode. So we're competing against another school. So we both have witnesses, we both have attorneys, we both open and close. So if you've ever seen a Law and Order episode or any law episode and you watch the trial, that's literally what we're doing in the case. We object to each other, and there's an actual judge. So that's like the real aspect of it. We oftentimes compete in an actual courtroom to get that real experience.
That's awesome. That's a fantastic way to put it. I think that's really relatable. So, Ben, tell me a little bit about going through this season. Like, was there an expectation of, hey, we'd really like to get to this point in the competition, or we have a goal of, hey, we'd really like to win state? How do you guys kind of go about achieving this?
Well, I'm I guess the new guy on the block. All 3 of my teammates who competed with me have done it 4 years. This is my 2nd year, and I was actually on the JV team last year. And so it was very interesting to come onto this more competitive, smaller team that was much more focused. We definitely wanted to make it to state. Last year, I know Melissa and Hannah had made it to the quarterfinals. I'm sorry, but I hadn't had any state level experience, so that was sort of my goal. It would be really cool to go to state. The more we got into material and the more competitions we did, and the better we competed, the more realistic it became that we could go further and further and eventually win. I don't think there was ever a time where I personally really thought that I was going to win state before like the last couple of days when I thought we had a chance. But I guess, that's just because being new, I just didn't know how well I could compete. I was worried about being a little behind almost, which I don't think happened. But I think some of my teammates and our coaches were thinking once we got to state, like, we have a real chance.
Yeah, absolutely. So, when you guys are competing in mock trial, what kind of schools are you competing against? Where are these other schools from?
So there's actually 4 different seasons to mock trial. There's one in the summer, that's Gladiator, which that's solo teams. There's Empire, which is in the fall, and that's teams, and that's also international. And so is Gladiator. So like with Empire and Gladiator, we're competing against people from Ohio to like South Korea. Like there's people from everywhere. And then OCLRE is what we just won, and that's statewide. And then Moot Court is also statewide, which is further in the year. That's in the spring, and those are within the state.
Great. So this is really, but large schools from Ohio.
Yes, absolutely.
Like when we were talking before we got started, like you were throwing out some names, like very large schools, like St. Ed's, Talawanda. Those are all very, very large schools in Ohio. So, for you guys to really put your name out there on that stage is huge to me. And I hope you guys see it that way too. Is incredible. So walk me through, you guys were saying, you're just kind of doing your thing, right? Like going through the rounds. When does it start to feel real? Like, when do you feel like, okay, I think we might have this?
I think our coach would say introductions.
Yes.
Every single trial, before you get to the actual material, you'll introduce yourself to the judge. I think everybody knows how important first appearances are, and we are pretty careful with them, and we do them pretty well. And once we do our introductions and the opposing team does theirs, or vice versa, order-wise, a skill level gap can be shown pretty clearly, especially because in like the final round or in a few rounds at state, you'll go into a back room with the judges, or you'll do it from a podium this time. Like the location and the kind of context in which you give introductions changes. And so that sort of reflects a bit of skill level and being able to adapt to that within each competition. And in that moment with introductions, there's never an introduction that I thought that we were worse at. And I do think it is a very strong metric of how adaptable a team is and how comfortable or natural they are in a courtroom. So being able to give an introduction really smoothly and then watching the opposing team maybe not give it quite as smoothly, it starts to feel like we can do this.
Mine is actually the opposite for me. I always look, my coaches really do look at the introductions before the round, but I always look at the judges' feedback at the end of the round, and I try to like and see what their feedback is, like which team it could apply to, and I try to look at who they look at, because that's kind of an indicator too. So I try to look at the feedback aspect, which isn't always accurate, but it sometimes is. So it's really, because mock trial is a very subjective thing.
For sure.
The judges also sometimes make faces during the
Yes.
trial by accident. So
Right.
there's some lines we wrote, and then I'd watch the judges. They seem to like it, and that generally feels pretty good. That makes you feel a little more confident about maybe winning.
You get some instant feedback.
Exactly.
Yes.
How much of mock trial is kind of what you have rehearsed and gone through prior to, and is there any that's like on the fly?
Well, there's plenty that's on the fly. So, like, I mean, we obviously have our opening statements, our closing statements, like fully prepared in advance, and that's memorized, and we'll go over how we're going to move during those. But then there's always those changes that we have to make last minute, like either during an objection that might come up. It might be a totally new objection that you've never heard, and you have to think, what does that rule mean? And how can I flip this so that way I win this objection? And then there's like some instances you can't necessarily control, like during our speeches, we put a lot of emphasis on movement about the well. So it's like, if you have a well that's really small, how do you adjust just last minute? And sometimes there's just some things you have to adapt and change. If the judge rules one way at one part of the trial and it affects your case later, you're going to have to change how you're going to address that in the closing statement or how you're going to address that on cross-examination. So it's really a lot of adaptability that we have to like put in, and just a lot of knowledge we have to, a lot of that base knowledge we have to implement rapidly.
Absolutely.
I think also from the witnesses side, I think Joel talked a lot about the lawyer side having to adapt, but from the witness, they'll get asked questions from your team's attorneys and the other team's attorneys. So you get a chance to prepare for your team. You get a big chance to prepare for that. But for the opposing team, you have no idea what they're going to ask. You don't know what arguments they're going to try to make, and so you don't know what facts they're going to try to get out. And you're both the witness on the stand and the attorney at the bench who might object have to kind of improvise and adapt to that the whole time. You just don't know what they're going to bring, and you have to be ready to object or kind of spin your words a little bit to get it in a little bit easier for you throughout the trial.
So I'm curious, why did each of you choose to get involved in mock trial whenever that was for each of you?
Well, you can
No,
go
go.
ahead. I joined the latest. My mom had told me to join freshman year, and I said no. And then she told me to join sophomore year, and I said no. Then she told me to join junior year, and I said, okay, fine. And then I really liked it, and I said, I should have joined freshman year.
Why did you like it so much? What was appealing to you?
Well, I think I like to argue maybe a little too much.
But it works here.
It works.
right?
It works, and it's an environment in which I can argue, in which I can use logical reasoning to make arguments, and that's a very rewarding feeling. It's nice to be able to digest a lot of information and then synthesize it and create an argument and an opening statement and a closing statement. And then public speaking is a rewarding feeling, even though it's nerve-wracking to get up and do something I worked really hard at and practiced, and then it goes really well in the moment. That's a very rewarding feeling to me. So those two aspects of creating arguments and then getting a chance to deliver them are really what pulled me into mock trial.
Okay. How about you two?
I know freshman year starting out, because I've always wanted to be a lawyer, so we were trying to look at speech and debate and like what the school might have, and they didn't have anything. And then my mom saw the ad for mock trial on Facebook, and she was like, well, you should try out for that. And then I did, and when I joined, it was still COVID, so I didn't actually meet Miss Osborne and Miss Farley until like the very end of that year, because everything was virtual and they weren't my coaches for the first year. But I stuck through, and then they were my coaches every year since then. So it was really that aspect that drove me to it.
Okay.
Yeah, similar boat here with Melissa. It was a very interesting freshman year, to say the least. Quite a transition for me personally. So I was always kind of interested in doing something during my freshman year of high school. I didn't really involve myself because I didn't want to burden myself or risk failing any classes, even though I'm pretty fine on that aspect. But one of my classmates in my German class was trying out for mock trial and told me to try out, and I'm like, sure. So I scheduled my audition. It was virtual, and then I canceled my audition because I was like, I'm not going to do mock trial. I want to do something else. But then I rescheduled it. I prepped last minute. Like, it was 30 minutes before that I had everything done. And then I went on to just audition in my bedroom. And, I mean, I don't regret it to this day. Mm-hmm. It's one of the greatest things I've ever, probably the best choice I ever made.
Do either of you two, Ben or Joel, do either of you two have aspirations of law?
Maybe.
Maybe?
I don't know exactly what I want to do yet for college, but it's definitely on the table. It's that or medicine or math or a whole number of other things is sort of what I'm bouncing between.
Those are a lot of things, Ben.
No,
a lot of different things.
Tell me about it. I've had this conversation with my parents, unfortunately, but my plan is to figure it out at college.
No, that's a good problem to have.
And so I don't have to think about it now, but it's on the table.
No, that's a good problem to have. Joel, have you thought about law at all?
Yeah, I'm definitely considering law school after college. But I don't know if I'll pursue it like as a career. Maybe I'll use it. I'm really just interested in public service, so I'm interested in the policy aspect.
Gotcha.
So government service is always of interest to me.
Gotcha. Well, let's go back to, again, the moment that, they announced Springfield High. You guys have won. You are the state champions of mock trial. Describe for me kind of the first thing that goes through each of your heads, because you're looking at it, again, through a different lens for each of you. Tell me the first thing that you're thinking of.
Hooray. We did it. I guess for me, I didn't really think for a bit. I was like, just really excited. And then once I started thinking, my thoughts going into the round were, I really don't want to let my teammates down. That was the biggest thing for me. Again, it's just my second year. And I like to think I've caught up decently, but there's just some gaps, of course, just due to just having less experience. My worry was my teammates have done this really for a long time, worked really hard at it, and then I'll come in and I'll mess everything up, which maybe an unrealistic fear or an impractical fear or some other adjective, but that was my, I guess, irrational fear. There it is. But, so when it was like, I could take a deep breath because I could feel good about how I did, and I got to win with my teammates.
For sure. How about you two?
I think for me, it was like Ben said, it was just like unbelievable, because going from like freshman year, I didn't even make it out of districts, because Joel was we were on the same team. We didn't even make it out of that. So then to go all the way to the finals, and then they announced us, it was just like Ben said, I was just happy that we did it as a team, because there were many times during like the season where we would write something like on a legal pad for like the other person to object to or something. And as we're doing it, the other person is already like standing up to object. So it's like because we worked together for so long, like I had no doubt that we would make it together.
Mm-hmm.
I was in shock. I couldn't believe it because, I mean, you tell me last year I was going to be maybe even at state. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have believed you because I was unsure if I was going to keep doing mock trial. So it was just such a big shock when they say Springfield High School mm-hmm. is the state champion in mock trial and I'm on that team. It was just crazy to me, and it was unbelievable, unfathomable to myself personally. And I was just so insanely happy that we were able to do it and that I was able to at least play some role in getting my teammates there.
Absolutely. I mean, when you guys talk about like, especially because you're all leaving us, right? Like you're all unfortunately seniors. Yes. But like talk about like leaving a legacy, like you're all a part of that now. You're all doing that. So I'm just so happy that you can do that on your way out, right? Like, so I'm just happy that we can celebrate you in that way. What is next for each of you? What's next on your journey after you leave Springfield High School? You talked about it a little bit, but where are we going? What are we doing in our future plans?
Hopefully college is sort of my goal. I don't know exactly which college I'm going to end up at. I'm still waiting on some due to some FAFSA delays and late responses. I still have a couple I'm waiting on, especially those big reaches. They tend to reply a little bit later. Mm-hmm. So hopefully I'll get some yeses in the next couple of days, fingers crossed. But I'll hopefully go to college. I'm going in for medicine. I might switch to law. I've become very interested in pursuing a postgraduate education, like after, like doing a graduate school, whether it be medicine or law or maybe a PhD. It's something that's become more appealing to me. I don't necessarily know why, but that's probably where I'm going to hopefully end up.
Good deal.
I know, same deal. I want to go to college. I don't know exactly where yet. Ohio State is my first choice, but like Ben said, FAFSA has really made everything so pushed back. So we don't know like the award letters and everything, mm-hmm. and money is the final aspect in where I go to college. I know that if I do go to Ohio State, I want to major in criminology and psychology, and they have a very good mock trial team, so hopefully I'll make it onto that.
Continue the mock trial legacy?
Yes. So hopefully I'll make it to that, and then after that I do want to go to law school.
Great.
I'm in pretty much the same boat. It's all about really FAFSA's delays and all that, but I want to attend VMI, the Virginia Military Institute, for international studies and maybe minoring in national security and information systems. And then from there, it's either law school or maybe postgraduate or just going straight into public policy sector.
Those are all very different career paths, but it's all really interesting to hear you guys talk about like where your lives may lead you. Any other thoughts that you want to share with anybody? I mean, this goes out to the community, kids. Anything else about your experiences with mock trial or your big win?
Hopefully we can get some more in Delaware. Because we won state, we are going to nationals. We are bringing up some of our freshmen from the younger team to compete with us. So Emerson and Aria will be there. They're from our gold team. There's also our blue team who they both competed in this season of mock trial. Hopefully we can go there and do good.
Great. When is your national competition?
It's around the first week of May.
Great. Okay, well, we'll all be cheering you on. And thank you guys so much for making time to come on Cat Chat, mess up the name of my own show. And we'll be cheering you on in nationals and in your future careers, guys. Good luck with everything.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us on.
Yeah.
All right. We'll be right back with more Cat Chat.
Welcome back to Cat Chat. And in this segment, we have our feature alumni, and his name is Casey Luther from Springfield High School. How you doing, Casey?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Good, good. Well, let's get right to it, man. what are you doing nowadays here in the community?
So I am currently running a pottery studio in the Hatch, which is downtown here, and yeah,
Okay, so you're doing the fire. It's called Fireside Pottering.
yeah, fireside
All
pottery,
right, and that's at Cohatch. Is this something where people can reach out to you? Do they call you, reach out?
Yeah,
Do they come in? Do you have like is it a everyday? Like I can walk in and see what you're doing there?
It's not quite every day. So the Hatch is only open on first Fridays, the first Friday every month. So 5 to 9, you could visit me there then. Or I'm also like, I do markets. So the Springfield Farmers Market, I'm
Okay.
there every once in a while. And I've been doing the winter market at Mother Stewart's over.
That's
couple
awesome, man.
months.
It's so awesome to see people who were born and raised here stay here and contribute to our community in a positive manner. What was it like? Okay, so we know you're here. We know you're got the fireside pottering. What was it like growing up in Springfield?
Honestly, I really loved growing up here. I love the kind of like diversity of just the school system. I made so many different friends here, and played a lot of sports. So that was a lot of
What sports?
kind of the childhood. So I played soccer and swam, played tennis a little bit, and wrestled a little bit, kind of whatever I could try. So
I gotta say, man, I played my share of sports too. I was a football, basketball, and baseball guy, but in college, I took a swim class.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I had to drop the class
Yeah.
because it was the middle of spring football, and every muscle in my body, I was done after that
it's
class, man.
It's a whole nother beast. It's like totally different than
Yeah.
anything you would do on land, you know?
Yeah,
So,
that and soccer. So you played both of those.
Yeah.
Like those are just high endurance.
yeah, cardio
sports.
was my key.
Absolutely. Do you still do some cardio to keep up with,
Yeah, I
with
try to
those
keep
things?
running. I've been playing some indoor soccer
Okay.
nearby, so.
Okay, there's a lot of pickup games going on at the high school on the field turf in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So just take your cleats and hop on out of there, man.
will.
And just come on. Let's talk about, so you talked about growing up. What elementaries did you go to?
I went to Snow Hill, Roosevelt, and then Springfield High.
Snow Hill, Roosevelt, and Springfield High. I think my daughter was around your age, I believe.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, not too far off from. I remember seeing you in Snow Hill a couple times because I was I worked in that building for some time. During that process, man, let's discuss a mentor who maybe impacts you to help you keep going and what you're doing right now.
Yeah. Man. So I would say
So many, huh?
yeah. Well, yeah, I'm thinking it through the people that impacted me, and there's a lot, you know. There are plenty of teachers that were really significant to me. Some I remember really well would be like Miss Green or Mr. Marple back in
Mr. Marple.
back in Snow Hill.
That's who I worked with. That's
Yeah,
my
he was
guy,
awesome.
Mr. Teddy
Really
Roosevelt.
cool. But then also my coaches were awesome. Miss Scholl, my swim coach, she was killer.
Absolutely.
Swimming, I only picked up in high school, but I really loved it, and it was like, you know, it was a very impactful sport for me. So she was great. Her and Ryan, both the Scholls are great. So
How did you arrive where you're at now? Like, I know you loved art. You talked about you played, you was swimming, soccer, and you said you did
a little tennis.
a little tennis.
Yeah, shout out to Miss Brocker too.
Ms.
She's
Brocker.
great.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, very athletic. How did you end up to where you're at right now with fireside pottery
Yeah.
at the Cohatch?
Yeah. So art was always something that I was kind of interested in. I would I liked drawing. I was never particularly good at drawing. Like if you told me to draw a person, it would look terrible. But I liked more abstract stuff with line and things like that. And I never really got to explore it just because I was just busy doing other stuff, and I didn't really think too hard on it until I went to college at Wittenberg. And that's where I took one ceramics class my sophomore year, and it was like unlike anything I'd ever done, because I got to work with my hands and just create out of nothing with clay. And from there, I just kept taking classes. I loved it. And
you took classes at Wittenberg?
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And yeah, so I just kept taking ceramic classes there. Decided to switch my major. I was a English major at the time.
Okay.
And yeah, so when I graduated, I became an art major, focused on ceramics. And when I graduated, I had saved up a little bit of money because I'd just been working the whole time. And so I bought a kiln and just kind of jumped in, decided, when you're young, you can kind of get away with taking some risks and doing anything you want as long as you like think it out. And so I decided to just jump in and try to sell my stuff, and thankfully the community was interested and kind of helped me make sales and kind of flourish from there. And that's kind of how I got here.
So the keel is actually the thing that you...
The kiln is the thing that bakes the pottery.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that bakes
So
it.
I also got a wheel.
So the wheel is where...
The wheel is
So I know
Yeah.
about pottery, and I always I think I would mess it up, So that's the wheel.
Yeah,
Where you
that's
get
the wheel.
the clay going around. You throw okay.
Exactly.
Got you. So what are one of the coolest things you've made or was asked to make?
Man, well, I can tell you, I've made a lot of stuff. I probably can't even remember half of it at this point. But some of my favorite things that I've been making recently are heads. Like, they're pretty generic, but just a sculpture of a head. I've been kind of having fun with that. And then I don't know. I make millions of pots. Not
Okay,
literally,
so you don't have one coolest thing, man.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I'll tell you, there's one piece that I made that I thought was really cool. So it was around the start of the war in Ukraine, and there was a show that I wanted to put a piece in that was based on that theme. And so I wanted to make like a really cool kind of ornate looking like super tall flower pot looking thing, and it was really beautiful, had some cool lines. But anyways, what I wanted to do was make this really tall thing and then try to kind of break it thoughtfully to make it look as though it had kind of been in a war, been broken by the war. So yeah, so that was a really cool piece. That was pretty proud of.
Sounds very cool.
Yeah.
Well, Casey, I ask everybody who has sat in this seat in our featured alumni segment, I ask the same question. If you can go back and talk to the 16-year-old Casey, what advice would you give him?
Man, it's going to sound probably generic or silly, but I would tell him to try a little harder with the classes, probably. That would have helped at Wittenberg. I got through it okay. It was fine. It was good, but certainly wouldn't have hurt. And also just kind of trust yourself to make the right choices. As long as that's your goal in the first place, you can kind of follow your gut a little bit, and yeah, be confident in yourself.
Awesome. One more time, where can they catch your Fireside Pottering at?
Yeah, Fireside Pottery is at the Hatch Artist Studios, downtown Springfield. So
Right. Do you have a Facebook page or Instagram?
yeah, at Fireside Pottery on Facebook and Instagram, and then my website's Ohio Fireside Pottery. So
Awesome. Casey, it's been an honor. Thank you for coming on our featured alumni segment,
Absolutely.
and best of luck to you.
yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. We'll be right back on Cat Chat.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Cat Chat. On the Community Connection segment today, we have Karissa Lisch from Woeber Mustard. Karissa, thank you so much for coming today.
Yes. Thank you for having me. Never done this before, so.
You are going to be awesome. Karissa is one of our most valuable community partners, always working with our students to connect them to job opportunities, career skills, and I'm going to let her talk some more about that. But Karissa, I first really want to ask you if you could just kind of talk about all of the really different things that you have done over the course of the past few years to connect kids with job opportunities at Woeber.
So going back, it's been many years I've been working with Springfield High, probably going on 6-7 years now, but I think it first started with internships. We had an internship opportunity and we wanted to connect with students for that. So that kind of got the ball rolling, but really Springfield High took that ball and really avalanched it. So something that we came up with is there's a manufacturing day every year in October. I think it's the first Saturday in October. And we actually decided to do that probably 2018, 2019, and invited Springfield High there with a group of students to come tour our facility and sample our products and just to kind of start making those connections. And it's just really grown from there. We did that 2 years in a row, the manufacturing day. But since then, we've continued to do career tables during lunch, career visits where I've set up in the library at the high school, just talking about our company, the jobs we offer, the skills needed, soft skills, things like that. We've also been invited to do resume workshops and mock interviews, things like that as well. So just really any opportunity we've been given or asked to be at the high school, we've really tried to commit to that because we love building that connection with the students and them knowing who we are, but also us learning them as well.
So, Karissa, I really want to ask you, because all of those things you listed, are obviously really time consuming for you guys. And we obviously see the value in it for our kids. But, something we were talking about before we got started is the value for you all and what you are seeing from your perspective. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so definitely over the years, you don't see it. We didn't see it right away. We were just committed and we knew that building those relationships and connections were important for our workforce needs as we were struggling to find workforce. And of course, then you had COVID in there as well. So we were doing it not knowing whether it would pay off or not. We were just really enjoying what we were doing and also enjoying connecting to the community as well, getting more out in the community because we hadn't done a lot of that as a company or a business. But since then, now that I've looked back and really thought about it or seen, now that we have these career tables or the job fairs, things like that, we've seen quickly after we're receiving applications while we're here. We're receiving applications right after. We're getting students for summer employment. Yes, I'm going to college in the fall, but hey, I'm looking for a summer job. Our business is a great summer job. We've just really seen it pay off. After manufacturing day, we had an individual who was graduating that following May. She came in and started working after she graduated, and now she's a line leader and still is a line leader for our company. I think she's been with us 5 or 6 years now.
That's awesome.
It's amazing. But we've just really seen that by putting in the time and the resources, which is quite a bit as we have to still juggle the business side and what we're doing there, it's really paid off for us in the long run. And we also just really enjoy it. We genuinely in my department at Woeber's in the HR department really enjoy making those connections as well. But we have seen, when I look back, we've seen it pay dividends. We just had a gentleman recently come and apply and was hired, and he actually came through on manufacturing day many years ago. So he's like, you know, I've
wonderful.
toured because I was here for manufacturing day.
Full circle
So
experience.
very cool.
So, I want to reiterate, something you said. You come in and help our kids right from the beginning as they're starting to put together resumes. I've been a part of one of those workshops where, you will go through and look at our kids' resumes and say, hey, I think this is great. Maybe change this. What do you think are some of the most important soft skills that our kids can take into the workforce?
Yes, so soft skills are some of the hardest things. That's probably the number one reason we let individuals go. Most businesses these days are willing to train students or young adults for the jobs that they have, even if they are very skilled or high level positions. A lot of our jobs are entry level, not a whole lot of training. But the biggest thing is please come to work every day. Attendance is very important. It doesn't matter what position you're in. When you have a job, you're needed. If you're not there, someone has to do your job. Yes, if you miss a day, I'm sure, you can make it up. But if you're missing all the time, and that's very, very difficult. So being at work every single day, unless an emergency situation or a planned time off comes up, appointments, things like that. Being on time, again, maybe not for every job, but in a manufacturing facility, we have production lines. Our lines can't start until everyone is at the line. So it's very important that everyone is on time. So being on time, very important. Staying off of your phone, very important. I know there's, all kinds of things out there you want to read and see about, but it can wait till your breaks or your lunchtime. Being distracted by your phone is very unsafe in most facilities, but also it's taking away, you're being paid to do a job and you're being distracted by your phone. So please stay off of those as well. Communication too. Sometimes that's lacking. And if you don't have good communication skills, it can lead to problems because maybe you can't communicate with your line leader or your manager, or if they communicate to you, you shut down because you don't know how to take, like constructive criticism, things like that. So that's another thing we see is communication. Definitely something to work on and build on if you're not very good at communicating.
Something else that we were kind of talking about before we got started was kind of this change that has happened over the last several years in schools and an emphasis on career education. I think you and I both agreed that, when we were in school, there was not this big importance that was placed on career education and, wanting to put kids in careers right out of high school.
Right.
Talk a little bit about how you have seen that change from your position.
Yeah, so definitely when I was in school, never the thought of what opportunities are right here at our back door, what's in Clark County, what's right here in Springfield. And now that I've seen what a difference it can make, I think it is so important, and I'm glad schools are getting on board. I mentioned to Jenna that Springfield High has always been ahead of the game, always forward thinking and looking ahead and figuring it out. And for that, we've seen it pay off as well. At job fairs, the big job fair in Clark County, seems like Springfield High is a lot more prepared, the students, for these types of events. But it's so important because military is not for everyone. College is not for everyone.
Right.
When I was in school, I feel like a lot of parents or teachers and things were like, go to college, go to college. Well, not everyone can afford to go to college. Not everyone wants to go to college or has the desire. And some just aren't fit for college. So I'm so excited to see the push that, okay, if your career path is military, that's fine. If your career path is to continue to college for a higher education, that's fine. And if it's to go straight into the workforce, that's okay too. There's plenty of opportunities. Like I just mentioned, a lot of companies now will train you on what you need to know or send you to school and pay for it. Once you've committed to them that you're going to be a good worker, you're going to come to work every day, you're going to be there on time, you're going to want to learn, they will pay for you to go to school and get that technical training or whatever's needed for that career. So I'm so excited. Springfield High has always been ahead, but I'm seeing more school districts now jumping on board and trying to do the career visits, talking about career pathways, resume workshops, job fairs, things like that. So it's excited. It's exciting to see that, but it's also nice to know that Springfield is already there and past it and moving the ball forward even more. So
Absolutely. Well, and you guys are hiring at 16 years old, which is fabulous for so many of our kids. And you allow such flexibility in scheduling.
Yes.
I mean, just really accommodating for kids who are in school and trying to make it work.
Yes. Yeah, we've really talked to our managers and the owners of Woeber Mustard and said, look, this is our workforce and we have an advantage. I call it kind of a niche, but I'm like, a lot of manufacturing companies like us cannot hire at 16. We can because of the nature of our business. So it's a niche we found that if we can start them working, even though it's part-time and it's around the minor labor laws and it's around their school schedule and okay, hey, Joe needs Wednesday off because he's got a big exam, things like that. I always say school is number one.
School is number one.
Work is important, but school is number one. Get your high school diploma and graduate. But I'm telling our managers, this is a niche. This is an opportunity for us to get these students, kids in the door. And if they love it here and they think this is what I want to do, they can grow and flourish. And we've actually had people that have been at Woeber's now 35 years that started when they were 16 years old.
That's awesome.
So that's what I see is, look, this is our workforce and we can get them early. We can kind of be ahead of other manufacturing companies that can't get them till they're 18.
Absolutely.
So it's a win-win in my opinion.
Well, and in addition to all of these different opportunities that you are getting in our schools and interacting with our kids directly, you are also part of our Business Advisory Council, or our BAC, comprised of a lot of different other entities and businesses in Clark County. So if you could talk a little bit about what is the Business Advisory Council, what is the BAC, what exactly does it do, what does it do, and how does it help our kids?
Okay. So what I've noticed, I've really enjoyed being a part of the Business Advisory Council. It's a great sounding board to connect Springfield City School District and businesses within the community, and other resources in the community as well. But I've learned a whole lot. There's a lot of things you don't see being outside of a school district. I've learned a lot about the district, and I've been amazed, honestly, at what Springfield is doing, just like I've mentioned, like just how forward-thinking and committed they are to their students. So it's really nice as a business, but also personally, to just step back and be like, wow, it's amazing what this district is doing for the community and for their students. It's been really eye-opening and amazing to me. But it's really building those connections that we're talking about between schools and businesses at a higher level. So it's having those conversations. It's really nice to be like, okay, Springfield City, as businesses, this is what we need. This is where we're lacking. This is where when the workforce is coming from, whether it be Springfield High or anywhere, the students, this is, as a community in our business, this is what we're seeing. This is where we need you to focus, whether it be soft skills or can you focus more on technical training? Can you teach them how to, do something with the machine or something like that? So it's letting us have those discussions and what that would look like. And then it's for the school to also be like, well, what we have questions for you too. How can we work together and make this work to where our kids have opportunities and know they can stay here in Springfield and Clark County when they're graduating? And part of that is how Springfield High has changed their graduation requirements. I think that's amazing that they've made it where it's not all about the education and tests and papers turned in and things like that. I think it's amazing. They can do other things and still get that high school diploma. Not all kids, it's not one size fits all, you know.
Yes.
Not all of them do well in a school setting where they're sitting in class all day, listening to lectures, things like that. So I think that's awesome that they have different opportunities to still achieve that diploma and then hopefully go into a career path if that's what their choice is.
Yeah, absolutely. So in addition, you know, just for our audience to give you guys some perspective. So in addition to Karissa at Woeber, the BAC is comprised again of so many different entities and businesses. You know, that's the city of Springfield.
Yep.
Mercy,
The team, well,
yes.
Greater Springfield
Greater
Partnership.
Springfield,
Yep.
Mercy Health Foundation, so many different areas of business.
But in the community, you know, within the
Yes.
Clark County and Springfield community.
Yes, everything is local, and it's a really symbiotic relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Again, just like Karissa mentioned, to open up a dialogue to say, okay,
Yeah, it's really nice.
this is what we're seeing on the school district side, and this is what we're seeing on the business side. How can we make this the most beneficial for both of us? So that's been a really great thing that we have developed between both of our sides.
Yeah, it's been very beneficial. Again, as a business, if we weren't seeing the benefit of it, because it is time away from what we're supposed to be doing, you know, there at the facility, then we would not continue to do it. But like I said, as a business in the community, it's been very eye-opening for us to learn, but also just making those, opening the dialogue or making those connections to where we're comfortable, you know, the person. It's just like us coming here to Springfield High frequently as we can. Anytime we're invited, I try to commit because I think it's important the students know who we are. They become familiar with us. They know our face. They know we're from Woeber. They, you know, we even have students, hey, hi, I remember, you know, you were here last year and all that. That's neat. So same thing for the council. It's nice to have the same people having discussions, feeling comfortable with one another and open, because sometimes there's hard topics too. So it's nice to just build that relationship and rapport as well.
Absolutely. Karissa, is there anything else that you would like to touch on about our partnership between ourselves and Woeber?
No, I can't stress enough. I am very proud of this school district. I would not normally wear, you know, cat pride.
Karissa's in her cat pride today. We are so happy we got her in her cat
I'm a
pride
North High
shirt.
graduate, a Panther, so it's very hard to wear the South High.
You look so
mascot
good in the blue
colors,
and gold.
But I am such a strong supporter because I live in a KR district. So I'm such a strong supporter of Springfield City Schools and Springfield High and just what this district is doing as a whole. And that they are not stopping. They are continuing, or you all are continuing to just push forward, get through the hurdles, get through the struggles, you know, work with community members and businesses. And I'm just very happy to be a part of it. And it's very full circle for me. Because like we talked about with me graduating from a Springfield City School, it's just nice to be able to give back. So I'm just happy to be able to be a part of it all.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time today coming on Cat Chat. Everybody, we will be right back in a few minutes.
All right, we're back on Cat Chat, and what a show. What a show.
I thought it was great. I'm so excited for the mock trial kids. Again, I'm just so proud of everything that they have accomplished.
Yeah. I mean, I have flashbacks because I know one of them since the second grade, man. Mr. Marple's class. And speaking of Mr. Marple's class,
Mr. Marple's been in this show
he's
quite a
been
lot.
in this show.
We've had several mentions of Mr. Marple.
He was the man, you know, and Casey Luther. Great job with the featured alumni. Can't wait. I got to go to Cohatch and check out Fireside Pottering, man, and see what it's all about.
Yeah. And really, it's kind of interesting to me, like all of these community connection segments that we have, we really do have a strong sense of connection. I mean, really with our school district and all of the businesses, all of the organizations here. And I don't think people always know that. right? Like we really are working together with a lot of different people to make the best possible experience for our kids. I mean, because like when you're driving down the highway, you don't think that Woeber's mustard has anything to do with our kids or
Right.
Springfield City School District. But they're here all the time.
They're here all the time.
All the time doing
and
stuff.
You can see this on our Cat Chat podcast. You can see our well-roundedness of what we have to offer as our district and who we partner with. And that's why I love this show. I mean, this is only, our sixth show. So it's a wrap. We're on to our 7th one here after this.
Yep. Don't forget, our last episode of the school year is coming up next month. Keep an eye out for that special surprise, whatever it could be.
Big surprise.
Yep. And don't forget to send us those high five items to the district Instagram at SCSDOH if you want that cat swag prize pack.
From Paw Prince.
It's a highly coveted prize pack.
Yes.
So don't forget to do all of those things, and we will see you again next month. Chris, anything else to say to him before we head out?
Nothing. I'm going to say, hey, keep being you. Keep representing our city as best as you can. And I love you all.
All right, we'll see you next month, guys. Thanks a lot. Bye.